It's gonna be
the airspace in Poland. Poland is next to Ukraine.
No, I
I'm from
understand,
Poland.
yeah.
So I went to visit my parents.
And then
for today's meeting.
Move to approve.
I didn't get called. Have a copy and the changes and the.
I didn't get called.
Really?
Oh, sorry. You're right, I see. Sorry. Okay. Sorry.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda for today's meeting?
Move to approve.
Moved by Roosevelt,
Second.
second by Ralph. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, approved anonymously. Second item is approval of the previous meeting minutes from September 8th. We all received a copy. Do we have a motion to approve?
Move to approve that written.
Second by Greg. I see no comments. All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, meeting minutes approved anonymously. Second agenda item, old business. There is no old business. No updates, so this way I'm moving to the next one, which is a new business. Did the board members receive the copy of the letter, approval letter? So you have in the agenda packet. There was a request from the staff to approve our support for two projects. One of them is a triplex lift station and another is a Gold Mile Safety Improvement Project. The support letter is going to Governor DeSantis, so we can discuss that. James?
So I don't recall this request, can you,
So this request was, the letters of support were written by the staff. They were submitted to me for my review. I personally had two comments. One of them was in
sorry, so what staff, who are we talking about?
Public Works.
So, an email was sent to Peter a couple months ago for the Gulf Ocean Mile Improvements Project, asking for Peter to support the staff and, sign the letter. He then decided that it should go before the committee. You guys were emailed maybe back in August about the letter. It finally made it to the agenda for this month, so that's that meeting. And then I think last meeting, Brandy made a comment that she was gonna ask for support for a specific project for the triplex pump station. So that's what that letter is for.
And Mark's here to discuss that too.
So my understanding is the staff is filing for a state grant. Is it a resilient grant or anything?
We'll have Courtney just kinda give a little bit of
Okay.
background, Courtney, thank you.
Perfect.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Courtney Harris, Ritz Special Projects Coordinator for Public Works. So the letters of support for the triplex pump station as well as for the Gulf Mile Improvement projects, they're being requested as additions to applications that Public Works is submitting for fiscal year 2026 state appropriation funding. It's not tied to Resilient Florida, the Resilient Florida grant in any way. But it
Okay,
is for additional fiscal year 2026 state appropriation funding that will become available. Letters of support from the community, city, and organizations like ITF. They strengthen our applications and they do allow additional light to be shed on why funding for said improvements are needed and the positive impacts that the projects will have on the city should we receive the funding.
so this is a 50%, right, cost share
Yes.
funding?
Yes.
So the state would provide 50% for this project and the city another 50%.
Yes. And Public Works will provide the other 50%.
James?
So, not against the concept, but I really don't recall ever in my 3 or 4 years on this committee where we were sending letters to the state. And I don't think that's in our,
Review.
I don't think we're supposed to be doing that. So I'm kind of confused here, if someone can enlighten me.
It was requested that we seek out letters of support from the community to, in a sense, validate why the funding is needed for said projects.
And that's, yeah, and I get that, and to me, the community is like neighborhood civic associations or HOAs and those kinds of things, not the infrastructure task force, which is an advisory group to the city commission.
We do have a letter from the HOA for Galt Mile, but it was suggested to also reach out to the infrastructure task force.
Are the requirements changing? Like, are these, asking for these letters, are they new requirements? I mean,
Letters of, to my understanding, letters of support were requested last year, but specifically in this case for this year, we were also asked to reach out to the ITF. Yes.
It would seem more logical if a committee on financing would be involved with the money aspect of it, so, I mean, and James is correct on that, we really haven't been monitoring or involved with approving projects that are kind of like out of our scope.
We have been in talks with finance as far as the pre-application process, what the city will need to do as far as the matching component.
Right.
We're not, I understand your question, we weren't asking ITF to,
I mean, we could evaluate the actual improvement, if it's a drainage or water main, old water main that needs to be replaced. I mean, we can say, yeah, that should be, because their lifespan is only 40 to 60 years, depending on certain such, but to get into an approval process and application, that's we're kind of stepping a little out of that.
well, the letter does say this overall project will include a component of stormwater management.
Mm-hmm.
And that does fall.
Right, that would fall in our thing.
I don't have any problem writing a letter of support. I just wanna understand, is this gonna be an ongoing thing going forward, or is this a one-off, or?
Well, Roosevelt,
I just got a question for my two friends, Al. Not the real Al there, but right across here. Do you believe that our support would be irrelevant as far as trying to receive the grant, or do you believe our support for the grant is wrong?
I personally believe that this is out of scope of what we are supposed to be doing as a task force. My concept, my understanding is we make recommendations to the city commission. We have conversations and discussions with the staff, the department, public works primarily. That's what we do. So for me to be writing letters to the governor, I'm not against this. I'm not against the concept of asking for help. You have to understand that, Roosevelt.
Oh, absolutely.
But I just don't think it's what a task force is supposed to be doing. That's all.
and unfortunately, we have the purpose of our task force in our agenda, so I ask the board members to read it, and you're absolutely right, James, there is a concern because we supposed to provide recommendations to the city commission as spelled out in the resolution 1746. So I think we're crossing that line, we're not supposed to provide the recommendation to the governor of the state, so that's a huge concern, yes. And can we check that with our legal, is that appropriate for the task force to provide?
I can reach out to legal and get the
Perfect.
information back to you.
Because, and I agree with James, we want those projects happen,
Yeah, absolutely.
but our recommendation should be to the staff to seek grants, right? Other than going to the governor of the state and tell them, give us a grant, because we may be crossing some, our jurisdiction right now, and I just.
What's our deadline?
October 24th.
No, we won't make
But we can, so when, we can communicate with me, because obviously I would be signing this on behalf of the task force, so if I would have so my question would be to the board, if we would have a confirmation from the city attorney that this is appropriate for the task force to provide this letter of support, can I have a motion with that condition to approve those letters?
I move that if we do get a tentative approval, that we do approve the letter.
Have a second, any comments?
Yeah, Mark, may I just add, if it comes back as negative that the attorney office opines that it's outside the scope, about a communication to the commission saying you're in support of these, whatever, the appropriations in lieu of. Attorney's office comes back and says, no, it's outside the scope of what this task force can do, but you can make a communication to the commission saying you're in support of
The project
the
itself.
project, these grants, which may be work for the grant appropriation. So I think we have two parallel paths we can go down to accomplish our goal.
Roosevelt
Just
and
for,
then James.
just so that we stay in order, it is not proper to have comments before you have a second. And you didn't get a second. As of yet.
Yes, but this is discussion now.
You can't have
Oh,
discussion
oh, I'm
before there's a second.
Okay, thank you, Roosevelt.
He's the parliamentarian, we have to follow this guy.
So but what Todd was saying, he's recommending, since we have a deadline, to pick two paths that would help the city and help those projects potentially. So one of them, considering the city attorney would approve our support, that this is appropriate as per our resolution. Or if not, then we would provide the recommendation to the city commission to move those projects forward,
Are you,
which is appropriate as the resolution anyway. So I think by default, we appropriate to do that.
then you ruling the motion out of order, or the motion died for the lack of a second, which are you doing?
Oh, well, now we have to have a new motion,
Well,
because
you need to declare one or the other,
So
out of order or,
can I withdraw my motion?
huh?
Can I withdraw my motion?
Yes, you can,
May I withdraw the initial motion? About to vote on that.
and
Just
then
let-
make another one very
But so,
similar.
I have a question, Todd, so help me out, because for us to provide a recommendation to the city commission, this is within our purview,
It's within your purview.
correct?
To do
So we don't really need to, I mean, we would have a motion, but do you wanna?
I just know how
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
structured for Courtney's purposes. In my opinion, a letter of support and communication to the commission supporting the project and supporting moving forward to the grant accomplishes that. But I don't know specifically for this appropriation request if it's supposed to be an actual letter, although, communication is not necessarily a letter format, so I think
For the, to speak to your, for the request, a letter of support was initially requested. And we were guided to reach out to the task force.
Who was it requested by?
Yeah, by who?
So there was requested by the city staff, by the public works, but so we have two paths. But you're right, either we're doing support to the state or we're doing support to the city commissioners, we still need to have a vote.
Yes, you do.
So
If we do it to the city can make it an attachment and send it up with the rest of the papers. I don't see much of a difference. Yes,
So, along that same line, we can make a recommendation in support to the mayor and the city commission and to public works and to the appropriations or office of management and budget and copy or CC the governor.
Could we just change it to whom it may concern?
we never know who that is.
I don't think you can do that, you can share.
I'm not signing that.
Very creative, James.
But that's a good idea.
I mean, I don't know if it's appropriate to CC the governor, but
Yes, Jonah? I like
What's
that.
special about these two things? Considering the list of the other 10,000 things that are being worked.
That would be the public works question.
Brian, Jill, would you be able to speak to?
Tell us about those projects.
Yeah, I have Mark here and then I'll add in. Okay, I'm sorry, Mark, I'll get after you.
Well, for the triplex pump station, it's the letter of support, you're right, there's a list of projects that need to be done, but for the grants specifically, there's many different criteria that need to be met, so For triplex, it meets those qualifications and we can actually apply for that grant. And as part of that, we need the letter of support, so nothing really specific about the project itself. It is very important and a big part of the infrastructure that we need to work on. We're here for the letter because it applies to this grant application.
Are these the only two going after grants currently? Is that why they're in front of us? These two as opposed to?
As far as the fiscal year 2026 state appropriations, yes.
James?
Now,
Yeah.
now it's framed. Okay,
Thank you. So, have you considered reaching out to the Council of Fort Lauderdale Civic Associations and having a conversation with them, and they have their meeting, that's Tuesday next week?
I have, but I can reach out to them.
Cause that's a large group of representatives from every neighborhood as part of the council, and to me, that would make sense to hear from them.
Council of Fort Lauderdale
Civic Associations, right, they meet on second Tuesday of the month,
Thank you.
in this room.
Thank you. I will reach out to them.
Okay, well, I do like James' idea to change this letter to be addressed to the city commission. We don't need necessarily copy Governor DeSantis, and we can provide that letter to the staff, and that letter can be
Yes.
part of the package.
Yes.
What staff would do with that letter, it's a staff, decision. But I think it's appropriate at this moment to give the letter recommending those two projects to the city commission, and staff can share with Governor DeSantis and state of Florida grant appraisals and whatever needs needed.
Yeah, that was my point, excuse me, that was my point as far as the infrastructure task force, we should be confined to a lift station or water mains or whatever. The necessity of maintaining or replacing same so that the utility system has an operational system. So, but as far as the money or seeking financing from the state, that's something that another department such as accounting or somebody that's involved in the finances should be involved in seeking donations, contributions, or programs where they will finance these projects.
I agree with what you're saying, but I also feel like we're here to help, we should be helping the city as much as possible.
And
complete
we
the
should,
packages.
and we should in our capacity as far as the type of, of the utilities. Anything that falls in the utilities, I think everybody in this room would be for saying, yes, we're for if the city can obtain money and such and qualify for financing of these projects, by all means.
And this, for me, this is the stormwater work, right? So they're gonna be working on the road and they're gonna work.
Right, well, regardless, stormwater.
So that falls under utility.
Exactly right.
But, in general, I mean, I agree, we change it to Fort Lauderdale, send this to Fort Lauderdale City Commission.
Okay, I wanna ask that grant coordinator, if that would be okay if we change the letter to be addressed to the city commission?
Yes, that would be fine.
That would be satisfactory, okay.
Copy Public Works.
Pardon me?
Copy Public Works.
We can copy Public Works, but we're not gonna copy government. Okay, very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve those two letters of support? Oh, and I'm sorry, James.
I'm gonna make a motion to
Perfect.
approve, the committee provides two letters to the city commission, the mayor and city commission in support of these two initiatives, requests for funding.
as written, but
As written,
Addressed
without,
to city
yeah,
commission.
different salutation. Is that how it is?
We're supporting the city wanting to, the governor or whomever, but we're not wanting to the governor directly.
Just for clarification to those who may read it from my district, if you state the purpose of the letter, name the letters, and then I think that'll be complete.
Okay, so I'll withdraw the previous motion.
No, it's
Add.
add.
Do it, it's add. Oh, add to the motion, okay.
Yeah.
And I'd like to add to the motion that the committee letters, one, support the city of Fort Lauderdale's request for the Fort Lauderdale Galt Mile Safety Improvement Project. And two, that the committee supports the city of Fort Lauderdale's request for the Fort Lauderdale Triplex Pump Station Rehabilitation Project.
Second.
Okay. Any comments? No? Alright, all in favor, please say aye.
Excuse me,
Yes.
after we clarified that it was in support of both of those requests, what's the rest of it? Like who it's addressed to or?
Addressed to the city commission instead of governor, state of Florida,
Instead of the state of Florida. That's it.
as written. You had a. Alright, well, both letters approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I will coordinate with the staff the signature for those letters, because I understand there is a deadline.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, well, next agenda item is the introduction of the city manager.
She won't be here until 3 p.m. So if you guys wanna do the water breaks, move on to that.
Yeah.
Perfect. Public Works updates, water and sewer breaks with mapping.
Especially that one
I think for these are just, you provided the map with the information on the break, so any questions on the water or sewer?
Yes, thank you, Todd. Definitely the September 25th, the emergency release.
The discharge point?
Correct. Not the discharge form, but there was, can you tell us the emergency
Through
release from
through the Alpha under the 17th Street Bridge, right, the sewer break? Or the, for 600 gallons?
Correct, 600 gallons.
600 gallons went over the weir into the intercoastal through the emergency outfall discharge point. Should probably look at the report to see
So
specific.
went over the weir of the effluent,
It's treated.
so, okay. And effluent.
Yeah.
And that's due to
I think they were doing some project in there.
lack of capacity or?
No, it was just, they were doing some project, just something. If you look at the actual report.
Which one is?
No, it was a
the first one?
Well, there was, cause I believe that's what triggered the
25?
advisory for the intercoastal
Yeah, we
waterways.
always do, regardless, we always do advisory.
So what that means, we cannot swim and eat fish.
Swim under the 17th Street Bridge, that's correct.
There was emergency release from the wastewater plant, release of the sewage.
Are you saying nothing broke? That was the
Nothing broke. There was-
decision made to.
Okay, so the details on that are on page, I don't know what page of your book, it's like towards the back, there you go, it's a letter.
It's a letter in your package from City of Fort Lauderdale.
The overflow is a result of testing conducted following the completion of a project, GTL chlorine flash mix remodel. Operational staff attempted a partial exercise at 60-inch sluice gate, used isolate scope, clarifier battery number 3. The reaction time combined with the manual operation of the sluice gate resulted in approximately 600 gallons of fully treated effluent being released via the emergency disposal plant.
So what was the response? The operators raised the gate up?
I don't have specific other than what's in the,
Cause it looks like there was only 3 minutes going.
yeah, so they caught it real quick. So they were obviously doing some type of maintenance work, operation work related to that project, which I don't know the specifics on exactly. So it looks like they're trying to exercise a valve or a gate, they called it. And you're looking at 3 minutes, I think it was 3-minute runtime.
600 gallons.
Yeah, 3
Yeah.
minutes. But
Big plant. So I have a question. Following September 18, abnormal event, what's the abnormal event that occurred?
that's the abnormal.
So that okay, so the
Yeah,
abnormal.
so we treat
was-
these because it's not technically a sanitary sewer overflow, it's not raw sewage, it's an abnormal event. Kind of anything that happens out of plant would be considered an abnormal event, that would be reported to the agencies. For instance, years ago, we had a leak on the hydrogen peroxide line, that was classified as an abnormal event, not necessarily an abnormal.
So we really don't know what caused this one.
The 600-gallon one? Well, they said right, whatever. They said
Nothing
that-
was broken, nothing, nobody
No,
drove.
it's just they're attempting to exercise a gate. It looks like it's something that was automatic, the manual, so by the time, the reaction time, so it looks like the 3 minutes was based on reaction time to close it in time.
I guess okay,
It looks like they were doing some sort of test around that gate.
well,
But
Shane just said they were exercising a gate. Make sure it's working, it's like after 3 minutes worked.
3 minutes, so quick reaction time,
how many
we're
gallons?
on it.
600.
We're on it. 600 gallons, that's nothing.
The one that was, I think, at 1200, there by the park and, on 15th and,
This water sewer was a, water or sewer?
it was sewer. I didn't see it in the package.
When did it?
Well, just to piggyback on this, I know there was operational, I see there was gate exercise, but especially that it's planned, maintenance wise, I think we can plan more and
Say that again?
that it's planned maintenance. Obviously, there was intent to exercise that valve, maybe we shouldn't do when the wet well is full, maybe we need to check, do that at night. There's,
Yeah, I don't think it's to do with the well wells, again, and if you want specifics on the event, we can bring.
no, not really, I
Yeah.
just, you
Yeah, I don't
know,
think
I
it had to do that
compliment
with
the
the-
staff that they figured out in 3 minutes, but looks like there was planned maintenance, they exercised the valve, and I think we can plan better, so let's take this as a, you know, a good feedback in a, you know, in a good way, that maybe next time, cause in 3 minutes, we release a lot, we have a big facility, but especially when we're planning, we can do night shutdown, we can get the emergency vac trucks on the side or something, like, I think it's just better thinking and overall approach. Because I understand the accidents will happen, but it looks like there wasn't really accident, it was actually planned exercise to that
I
valve.
think they were closing out a project or working on a project.
Okay.
Roosevelt, I'm not seeing, which one are you referring to?
The one that was in the 1200 block, just off 15th, Northwest 15th Avenue and, that's 15th Street by the school, what used to be the school lease.
A water break or wastewater?
It says sewer.
Okay, as we looking at, Ralph,
I think
James.
James before me, but I.
James
Yeah,
first.
so Todd, the 600 gallons, fully treated effluent
Do we get fined for that then, or what happens? What's the follow-up from the?
What DEP has been doing in the past is they take all these releases and they usually send us like once a year, kind of with the violations, with the fine amount, so they aggregate them into one enforcement letter. So there's always potential.
So we might see something before the end of the year. Okay, thank you.
Ralph?
I was gonna say that in exercising valves, whether it's for water or sewer, water, most utilities like to try to do those testings at non-peak times. So you don't create really hard water jams and stuff like that, plus the fact that you have to do it very slowly when you're turning, each, like in a water thing, it may be 4 or 5 turns per 1 inch diameter. You have to do that very slow, and also when you're turning it off, you have to do that very slow too, to avoid water, water jams or whatever, hitting on there. As far as the sanitary sewer, if you're discharging something, or something's being discharged into water, whether it's a canal or whatever, or the land, that's subject to a regulatory violation. And, you can get fined depending, and the cleanup for same needs to have been addressed, if it was possible. If you're putting it in a waterway, then usually they'll have a ring around something to capture some of it, but it's not good science to be successful. So those are my concerns on that, and that the amount of money spent, I don't, that's something that they have to look at. There may be fines again for the pollution from raw sanitary sewer.
This was treated more.
Yeah, just to clarify, this was treated.
James?
It still may be if it's the treatment, if the treatment meets the codes for discharge, then that's fine. There wouldn't be any regulatory repercussions. That'd be the only concerns I have on that.
Todd, within the packet, it's the first letter, the first paper of attachment A, got 9/25 is the date of the event. Environmental, it's a letter to Broward County Environmental Committee Division in that packet.
Cool.
And at the bottom, there's 2 things. Steps taken to control and correct, and method of cleanup and cleanup status. Jerry pointed out, and number 1, force main was turned off and affected lift stations were tinkered. What does that mean?
So we turn a force main off, but you still have sewage coming into the lift station, right? Lift station take the sewage and they put it into the force main. So when the force main is turned off, you still have the lift station collecting sewage. So we have Vector trucks doing routes to empty those lift stations, so that you don't have further SSOs further upstream from those lift stations, causing more SSOs. So that's what that.
And that process is called tinkered?
Tankering, tanker.
Tanker.
Tanker truck, like a Vector
Tanker,
truck, yeah.
So
okay.
misspelled.
So-
And this has a misspelled.
That's what
It says tinkered.
Oh, is this a
Yeah.
typo? Okay. I guess the road just, I guess I'll
Just
check
take
that one up.
It was
I'm like,
tank,
Jerry looks at me like, what is this?
What is this?
they were tank typing that.
Okay, Lindsay?
Are you guys required to retest the water even though it's satisfactory or meets the standards?
No. Once we test it and it passes, then
And it's only the immediate area tested?
it's only that immediate area where it tests where you have the impacts. We do a point of entry, then we do an upstream, and we do a downstream.
Thank you.
Yep.
Roosevelt?
Just got one quick question for you. I noticed in that same letter, the pipe is cast iron, it's 50 years old. This 50-year-old pipe you got out there?
Gary? I don't.
Majority of the pipes in the system is cast iron, so majority of our pipes are over 50 years old.
The water and wastewater.
Water and wastewater.
Water and wastewater.
What are we doing?
Huh?
What are we doing about it?
We submit CIPs yearly for water and wastewater pipes, based off the age of pipe and how many breaks, and things of that nature.
We're doing the lining, right? Where we do the force lining?
Yeah, we do
Pipe
linings
bursting.
on some of them for a quick fix, but the real thing is to put in for a CIP and get it replaced. Lining probably lasts another 10, 15 years tops, but we really try to put in for CIPs.
Life expectation of the galvanized pipe.
It depends.
I'm sorry.
It depends. It depends on where it's buried. I mean, if it's on the beach, it's not gonna be that too long. If it's in, in more inland, it could go up to 100 years. It all depends on, where it's at.
Has salt water corrosion.
So I don't have nothing to worry about for 47 more years, right?
I can't.
Good.
You're good in your neighborhood.
But it's those same cast irons that are causing the water to be off color, right? So that's.
Huh?
It's those same cast iron pipes that are probably causing the water to be
No,
not clear?
I don't think
no.
so.
It depends on if you get 5-ash water, it depends on the treatment process.
Has the biggest impact on
Yeah.
color.
That's the color.
If you've
So
got
if
older
you get
pipe
5-ash water-
without lining, the lining will protect it from rusting, but if you have some of the old cast iron pipe that's been in there,
You talking about lining for
that-
sewer or water?
that
We're not
will
water at this
tend
point.
to rust.
We don't line water pipes. Only sewer.
Okay.
Right, that's what I'm talking about,
Oh,
sewer.
making sure.
So when's the 5-ash water treatment plant being cut in again?
That's gonna be, right now, we're going through the process, right now, we're doing flushing, so next year, 2026.
September 2026.
It should be
I
in
think got it, right? I think you're referring to the corrosion. And you guys have corrosion inhibitor for so cast iron is not a good material for the water. With the 50 years old age, there is a severe corrosion, and even when it's aggressive water or not, but the city, I'm sure they use a corrosion inhibitor that protects the life because it's a pipe scaling, so people don't really wanna drink that cast iron that it's inside that pipe, right? So it kind of protects the pipe lifespan and also protects our water quality, so that's the corrosion inhibitor. But cast iron is not the best material, ductile iron is better for that, and here specifically for the sewers, I think the impact is, like you said, at the beach, it's salt water, that's what eats the pipes from outside, plus sewer itself is corrosive, and we know
Yeah.
that, right?
So usually we'll line it to try to help.
Yes, so as we're looking at this map, the red dots are, I believe, water, yellow are sewer, and it's always something at the beach. But anyway, what my concern is sewer main break, storm drain overflow. Why this is sewer related, when it's a storm drain?
Which
It's
one?
in the table,
They're
second,
probably just saying the storm drains were impacted from the sewer break.
That went into the swamp.
there was.
The sewer overflow went into the swamp.
Into the storm.
Okay. So there was a force main inch that went to the storm drain. Okay, so we're not reporting, well, I just wanna make sure we're not reporting the overflow of the storm drains. We in flood zones all the time. Okay,
No.
more questions on breaks, comments?
I have a question.
Yes,
Going back to the letters for Galt Ocean. If that goes through and the valves are placed, will there be the trucks to come get what they pump out? Where will the water go? Right back into the air coastal, or where? Where is it going?
During construction?
No,
Which means it will be taken to like a treatment plant.
are they going to,
Yes, so if the vac truck come, they pump the raw sewage, they bring back to the plant.
that's the plan?
Or to the Broward County,
Where they put it back in the system
or they
and then
put,
float it down.
correct, in
There's
a.
multiple routes to get to a treatment plant, so you just, factory truck holds what, how much?
It depends on the size,
like 1,000 gallons.
more than that.
So 3,000 gallons, so they'll just put it into another collection point in the system, so continue on its way to the treatment system, to the treatment plant.
Or just tanker it out to Miami-Dade.
Tanker to Miami-Dade or another proper disposal facility, but it gets treated. Put back.
Okay, so if we don't have more comments, then we can move to next agenda item. Since we have 20 minutes, I would like to wrap it up, maybe our comments before the city manager comes. So general discussion and comments from committee members. Greg, you first.
Alright, so I have a question about high tide. So A1A, right in front of the marina is where the Jungle Queen boards. The right side of A1A was flooded this Saturday. So I know that private property owners are responsible for taking care of high water events, but how would this type of event be reported? Who owns that marina? Is that, I don't think that's a city property there.
EMR.
So I would report any service request to 828-8000 or use the Fix It FTL app. A1A, if it's a private, that's obviously a private issue which can be addressed depending on the circumstances. A1A is a
DOT.
FDOT road. So sometimes when we get complaints of FDOT roads, we'll refer it over to FDOT District 4, our county operations to manage. But 828-8000 is always a go-to for call for service or the Fix It FTL app.
Yeah, there was definitely a high tide event.
Yeah.
And definitely right in front of, and there's only the stretch right in front of the marina, right in front of where Jungle Queen boards. It was, the whole right lane was 3 feet.
So we are in a king tide October 5 through October 12.
Yeah, October 4, yeah.
You give or take. And again, you're right, usually you start seeing maybe an hour, 30 minutes before the high tide, and then it takes a couple hours, so it's,
So in that event, like, who do we expect to fix that?
Are you talking about right in front, just north of the fire station, in front of the new marina? Where the boat is, or further to the north?
Further to the north, like you take the right after Broward onto A1A. I'm sorry, Las Olas onto A1A.
Mm-hmm.
There's those fishing boats right there.
Yeah, I don't think Jungle Queen boards there, but yeah.
You're right, they may move, but that's the
private property
location.
owner.
That's
That's a
flooded
private
there
property.
forever.
So,
the seawall being breached, or is it just coming up through the catch basin?
it looks like it came up to the catch basin.
Catch basin.
So I just don't know how to, like,
If it's
If
in the road, it's DOT and you gotta contact DOT.
so we would contact this number and then they
You
would
call
contact-
H8000, you explain the situation, pictures are always helpful, or again, the Fix It FTL app, and then we can take it,
We can take it from
we
there.
can take it from there.
I think that's the remedy, because
I don't know what the remedy would
It's
be.
like,
it comes right up, over the, like where the boats are, right? It just comes right in, doesn't it?
They have outfalls, so they'd have to put in a check valve like the city has done in locations around, but there's not a whole lot to do.
There's an ordinance for seawalls, that's up to this task force knows. But I would have to check to see if there's anything for coming up through a catch basin, other than, pursuing through maybe a nuisance angle or code enforcement, also not a nuisance. That'd be a code enforcement.
And the second question I had, was the stormwater project for Victoria Park. When is that start date? I've seen some crews in Victoria Park do some work. I don't know what they're working on. I didn't stop and ask.
Deborah,
in the
Yes.
pipes?
So the Victoria Park is part of the Phase 1 Fortify Lauderdale plan, it's a neighborhood-wide project, so full-on construction is gonna be starting closer to the start of 2026, but they are, the contract was executed, or will be executed. So if you do see crews out there, it might be the contractor just doing some preliminary work. I think in the coming weeks, they might be, just kind of like when they look at existing utilities and things like that.
So the contract was not executed?
The contract, it will be executed, so I'm not sure, I know there's other work going on in the area, I'm not sure,
The contract was awarded,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you go to,
Okay,
you gotta
yeah,
sign the documents.
so it was awarded, so they probably do some scoping.
Yeah, there were some pretty big crews.
Okay.
There were in situ farm trucks lining
Lining.
Sixth Avenue.
Okay, so the contractor for the Victoria Park work is DMSI, so the in situ form might have been a different work going on.
Or maybe a
They
subcontractor.
were fixing something, there's no question
Yeah, it
about
was
it.
a big crew.
I can look in to see if there's in situ form is aligning,
Yeah.
so I can look into and see what that project might be.
Did you have a notification at the door that not to do the laundry and dishwasher? No?
No, I was just
That would
driving,
be
I was just driving by it,
Ah,
I'm there, I'm
If you
in
could
that
keep
zone
us-
all the time.
Updated when the stormwater project's gonna start, if it slaps again, I'm getting asked constantly. I mean,
Okay,
I live in Victoria Park, I'm getting asked all the
Sure.
time.
so also with that, piggyback on Greg, can we ask staff to give, like maybe on the website, some updates for the residents so they don't need to bother Greg? They just go
It's
on the
okay, I
website.
just-
And sometimes
Don't bother
you guys
Greg.
great communicators.
They're not gonna
You know,
stop.
we all live in the city, I love those updates, the email, you know, and I see, you know, we're doing a master plan for the trees, and we're doing a master plan for the sidewalks. So maybe we can give some flash news for those residents, so.
Sure, well, as part of a major project like that, there would be coordination with our Stratcom team to do
Okay,
various
perfect.
methods of outreach and
we're in the process right now of Stratcom.
Yeah, we've just
Okay.
pushed this project so many times.
we're almost there.
Almost there.
We're almost there.
Thank you. James,
Also,
So-
for informational purposes, stormwater updates, there is a designated place on the city site to get that.
I can't hear.
So we can email the link, or you can go directly to that site.
Okay, she's saying there's a special link in the city.
it's a
Website
dedicated
for stormwater.
page at the
Okay.
city website for stormwater updates.
Todd, I'm just gonna ask you, so what's the status then of the next phase? I know that Hazen and Sawyer came before city commission, they made a recommendation on terms of ranking of neighborhoods. But there was no discussion on it, so what happens next? Is there going to be any discussion, or do we know?
Yeah, so fortify phase two, Commissioner Glassman brought up looking at qualitative criteria. The presentation given was based on quantitative criteria. So we are bringing a presentation, a short presentation back, one of the meetings in November, to discuss the qualitative criteria aspect. It's because stormwater engineering did look at some qualitative aspects of the ranking versus quantitative ranking. So that would be up for discussion at some time in.
Okay, that's good to know, cause I'm gonna press my representative. Thank you.
Anybody else, comments, updates? Yes, James?
So just one more thing, I just wanna let the committee know that I'm going to be resigning after my next
No.
meeting
We're not
in
approving
November.
that.
That'll be 4 years on.
I withdraw giving you a voice right now.
4 years on this committee, and I think it's time to step down and let someone else do
Or maybe
it.
you reconsider your decision after this meeting.
So I'll be here for the next meeting, but that'll be it.
Well,
Roosevelt and I, what do we have, 8 years?
17. How many years that is, that's 8, yeah.
together 17 years.
Hasn't affected us at all.
I think we're established in 2017. Okay, well, I do have some news to the committee that I share with the staff. Staff told me that because I gave the copy to the staff and I was asking the staff to provide you a copy, there was a consent order the city received for the drinking water breaks. I share with the staff that it's still in the negotiations. Negotiation means, I believe they expiring October 8th. So we may hear more from upcoming city manager with the director for engineering, public works. What is the plan to address those issues? But that's why I'm not joking, James. Maybe you would reconsider because it is a concern that this is another consent order. And this time.
This is a brand new one?
This one is brand new one, fresh, so I did not share the copy with you because it was not signed by the city yet. And that deadline is expiring October 8th. But I wanna share with the task force members that there would be definitely some work coming up. I know we had the consent order for the sewer, and I kind of don't know where is the status. There was some deadline extension as we were approaching the deadline to complete the work for the asset management and everything else, what was in that consent. So I'm assuming there was some deadline extended, so maybe we can ask for the next meeting to provide more information about the status of consent orders in this point.
Omar did the presentation, but I don't forget when that was, back in the spring?
That was for the sewers, yeah.
Just
It was
consent
for the
orders for the sewer and the water treatment plant.
Well, this time is for the pipe break, so there was great preamble as we spoke about our water and sewer breaks, and we're getting those maps every day. This one is specifically for some period of time. I'm hoping this is a better time frame, but there was between 2023 and you can see it without the glasses, but yes, it was hot.
When you finish with Joe's, I'm gonna make a small request of our inspector of the police station. Can he brief us on his findings?
Yes. Absolutely. So I will ask for the next agenda item to be placing the status of the current consent orders. And, just for the clarification, there is, it's not, you guys know what the consent order means. That's pretty much call to action, for the lack of a better word. So, yes, staff.
All of the consent orders?
Correct. Current status of all consent orders, because I think we're missing the sewer update, and looks like there's a new coming up, and obviously I would like to have somebody present to discuss the approach for the most recent, which is the drinking water breaks, quite concerning. But the biggest concern in my standpoint is finances, right? Because some of you attended the State of the Union from our mayor. And what stick to me that mayor is saying that we're building the new water plant, we have this great partnership, it is a great project, and we're gonna get rid of yellow water, right?
Yes, please.
So I think what is missing we have to do a better job to understand that whatever we're producing inside that water plant, we still need to deliver to our homes, and that's the distribution system. And here we are with the consent order to the breaks. I would like to know why, how many breaks, what was the size, how many people were affected. There's a period between the dates. I think there was 2 years period when they actually, September 2023 and April 2025. So apparently we exceeded some normal operations, right? Having those breaks, having those boil water notices, having people without the water. So I kind of want to see what caused that decision from the DEP. And there is obviously some call to action. The deadlines are there. I'm sure the staff can negotiate some better deadline, maybe extending them. But the concern is where we get the money from. That's, we're spending hundreds of millions for the new water plant, but not even thinking about what is happening in our wastewater, right? Like this is kind of also needs some finances. So I think we can discuss that at the next meeting.
Okay, good, that's good, I agree.
Yes, I did, the staff said they would not be sharing yet because they wanna wait when, I guess October 8th, which is this Wednesday, when is the deadline for receipt, which is a confirmation that the city received the consent order, which I understand and respect. But I wanna let the members know that we may have a discussion next week about this. Looks like we have to. Then, if it's no more comments, Ralph, please give us updates on your tour.
In Victoria Park, if it's in situ form, they're doing some CCTV in one of the bases there in Victoria Park. LMK is also doing some I&I type work over there, so I had to figure out which one they were talking about, but yeah,
There was
the-
a CCT and the pipes.
yes,
So they putting a camera inside the pipe. That's why you don't have a notice, because they don't need to block your sewer. But they will when they like. Alright, well, Ralph, tell us about your tour.
Yeah, it was interesting. I almost passed out. I was dehydrated, but they were outstanding folks that came to my aid with bottles of water and everything else, so. But more importantly, I did do some inspections around and did see interiors of the new building, new police station, and it's fabulous. It is very, very Spacious. The one thing I want to concern and clarify, that I provided, what was it, about five items on here on just my quick walkthrough that I had, was that the problem on the concrete roof was the fact that the overhangs created a moment and caused the steel and the concrete to lose the compression, and thus resulted in cracking to occur. That really can't be fixed. The only thing that the city has done is to put underneath the kind of holding up the cantilever to take away or diminish that moment that's created from the overhang. And so you'll still have the cracks there. The strength has been reduced. But in the engineer's opinion, inspecting the roof and everything, it should be good enough with the supports around the cantilevers to hold up and not to have a problem.
So the life of the overhang is the same as the life of the whole building?
Well, the roof is on pretty much the whole building, but if you see in some of the pictures here, there's this here. I don't know if you've seen this one here. There's an overhang, and that creates a kind of an uplift on the roof part. So they do have these overhangs going around. And what they've done, they put in a kind of a 90-degree structure to hold up to keep that from continuing to apply a force, uplifting force in there on the roof. You can't fix it, that's the only way to try to stop it or slow it down. But in their opinion, that should work to solve any other problems associated with this. Once the steel and the concrete separate, loses that, you can't turn it back, you have to replace the roof. But then to avoid that, they're doing the cantilever structures, and that should, in their estimation, should take care of it. Let's see. I had 5 items on there, and basically that was the first item that I just spoke about the integrity of the roof and the building. What I could see, and the walls were pretty much sealed up, so I could not see anything, any interior cracking on the upwards or any vertical. Maybe the thing to do is just ask if everybody read that thing. Do you have any questions on any particular one, rather than me gabbing?
No, I appreciate you going,
Okay.
representing.
Okay, but I was very, in summary, just very impressed with the efficiency. Only thing I did see was on like the second floor where they had parking, their parking lots in there. They had an opening on the west side and I guess the east side. And rain water can get in with pretty harsh storm events. And so they had very small, had like a 6-inch grate for stormwater in there, and that wouldn't handle anything, especially if it gets clogged up. They need it, and I suggest that they take a longer thing in the low spot where the vehicles are parked to get that, so it's be easier to clean out and maintain, and the greater ability for the water, what's coming in, that's seeking the lowest point would be easy to get rid of on that.
Greg?
So I didn't bring my notes from the last meeting, we talked about the city, the police station, but there were some milestones or tasks we had to complete before we could even set an occupancy date. And so where I'm going is, do we have an idea of when we're gonna be able to get into start using the police station?
I don't have the answer, I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
Anthony, we can get back to you on that.
James?
Yeah, well, thanks for doing that. I was supposed to go last Friday, but Anthony had to cancel, he had a conflict come up.
Okay.
So we're gonna reschedule, but even though we have this, I still wanna go, I wanna see what it looks like. Is there anything you think I
Drink
should?
plenty of water before you go.
Do you think is there anything you want me to ask more questions about, or when I do that?
No, I pretty much was able to ask the questions for what I could see. And you'll see that, you got the walls covered and everything, and it was interesting to see like the shooting range, for an example. And they said they had enough, you have to take their word, enough exhaust to take out the smoke from the burnt powder and everything. To exhaust it. Where does the exhaust go? Does it go up when they come back down, or those are types of things that I wanted to ask, but I didn't. It's probably a regulation where you've got to exhaust it out into an open space and where it does not conflict with any
Certain amount of
it's cleaning before
air,
pollution.
movement of air.
Well, James, before you move with the questions, why don't you ask the question that Greg just brought? Just, my understanding was that the building passed the inspections, plumbing, passed the electrical inspection, probably mechanical, so that exhaust, I'm not really worried. I'm sure there's HVAC professionals looking at that. I would be very careful with bringing any recommendations that would cause a change orders, and I don't think we're in a position to say what kind of shape of the drain we want, and this is too late. The project is designed, built. It's already, and I think in this point, we heard there was a structural engineer, there was structural issues, yes, confirmed. ACOM was there, then the Lactus structural engineer, the WGI was a structure for the city, so there was owner rep. I think there is a structural engineers enough look through this. We just need to trust the recommendations. I'll be very cautious as we saying, oh, why don't you do this, why don't you do that? This project, it's been approved, it's budgeted, it's building, we can't just causing a change
I didn't
orders.
say
And
that.
I don't think they would act
No,
on it, I don't think they would.
The only thing I said, and I looked and I mentioned it, was the drainage in the parking lot. It was a massive parking, it's sufficient water, and you can't have 1 6-inch drainage. And I only suggested that may have problems with getting clogged, not being able to handle a unusually heavy rainstorm. That's
Ralph, the moment when the police officers need to walk through the pile of water, they would address that later. But I think the good question would be to ask James if you could kind of next steps, when is the final inspection, when is the So that would be a good question to ask. I think we more to kind of, we see the project is completed, we're excited, but the next step, I think most of the inspections were already passed. Maybe the structure is even passed too. I have no I don't remember.
I think I didn't have the certificate of occupancy in there. I think.
And we can pivot, cause we have the city manager here.
Yes, I think we don't have more comments. All right, so I think we have all right. Well, welcome. I wanna introduce our city manager, Raquel Williams. Welcome. This is the Infrastructure Task Force Committee. So definitely thank you for your time.
Hello.
I don't know what is easier. Maybe you wanna introduce everybody individually. Oh, why don't you? Well, this way we.
Can't be hiding back there.
That's a good. That's why James.
You had your name tag.
Oh, no.
That's why you cannot retire.
There we go.
Oh, you're Raquel.
So Raquel is here.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having me. This invitation means a lot to me because infrastructure and capital projects, that's really part of the lifeblood of the city. And I appreciate everything that you do to contribute to our decision-making process, toward our policy goals, toward our strategy. So I think you help keep us on our toes and you help to keep us thinking about what's important, not just for today in our city, but for tomorrow and our future. I think that there's so much to cover in terms of infrastructure and I know that this committee is tasked with a lot, but infrastructure can be viewed in so many different ways. And my understanding is that you've primarily been looking at facilities as well as underground improvement projects. I know that our city has been challenged in terms of weather events. We're a coastal community and that's not going to change. So figuring out how we deal with that and how we invest in that is important for our long-term sustainability. This year in our budget, we have put a strong emphasis on moving capital projects forward. We have some projects that we haven't been able to advance on because of various funding gaps, and we're utilizing all the dollars we can to try to advance some bridge projects, some facilities in terms of fire stations. Of course, we want to complete our police headquarters project, and we'll be undertaking so many stormwater improvement projects as well. I mean, we have no shortage of projects to complete in our city. In the budget, we have reorganized some of our city personnel and tried to assign personnel in terms of their skill sets and their functional areas, as well as some of we're looking at the goals of the city and trying to make sure that we're aligning our personnel resources to match with those. One of our new departments that we've created this year is the Capital Projects Department. And we've done an initial launch, I'll call it a baby launch, of the department, which currently includes the Parks Bond team. So those are the people working through that $200 million Parks Bond program. They were previously housed in the Parks Department, now they are part of the Capital Projects Department. We also have a group formerly in our Transportation and Mobility Department. They are now in Capital Projects working on transportation related projects. We will have a phase 2 of the Capital Projects Department's launch, and that will include some members of our Public Works team. In terms of the project management team, we're looking at the various thresholds for projects and trying to identify the sweet spot of, hey, these are the projects that should remain in Public Works, and these are the projects that should, or the types of projects or caliber of projects that should go to the Capital Projects group. While we're putting all this together, Ben Rogers, who isn't with us today, but I know you're probably familiar with him, one of our assistant city managers, he'll be leading that group for the initial period, and then we'll be building out the leadership infrastructure of that team. We wanna make sure that we have folks in leadership that can go head to head with the AECOMs of the world and the big construction firms of the world and make sure that we can advocate on behalf of the city. One of the challenges that we have as a city is that, I think that we're highly dependent on consultants for a lot and that's fine, I think there's a partnership, the private sector does a lot of things better than the public sector. I wanna make sure that we have administrators who are empowered to advocate for the city, empowered to make decisions and recommendations, and also accountable and take ownership for those decisions and recommendations. And so that requires a lot of support, that requires promoting people who we see as leaders who just need that added level of encouragement and support. And it also means bringing people in to help us manage these projects. So I'm really excited about it. I think that in so many ways it's an experiment and I can't afford to have the experiment fail because everyone will say, who did that? Oh yeah, that city manager. I've seen it work in other places and I've seen the benefits that other cities have had with having that concentrated group of individuals working on infrastructure and in a more collaborative, cohesive and focused way. And it's not to say that we don't already have great members of our team. We've already identified some strong leaders among us. I'll share that we are bringing a new utility services director to the city, but he is not new to the city. He was once our public works director, Mr. Al Carbon. He worked with the city for 9 years. I don't know if any of you are familiar with him. He's recently been with the city of Oakland Park as its public works director. So he'll be coming back to serve as utility services director, which that is also another one of our new departments. We took public works, which was a ginormous department of 500 plus individuals, and what we've done is we've taken the utilities side and we've said, okay, let's group this 300 unit group to just focus on utilities, and that's where Mr. Carmen will provide leadership. And then the public works team, what remains, will be led by Mr. Bradford Kane, who you may have met already since he joined the city. So part of it is bringing the management responsibilities into a more manageable level. I think it's hard to have one director over 500 people and have that director know what's going on the various projects. And I think that's gonna promote accountability and visibility. I wanna be able to say to a director, hey, what's going on with this project, and not have it take 10 phone calls to get to the answer, or they have to go down so many levels of communication. Another thing that we're working on right now is how we communicate about infrastructure issues in the city, whether it's a water main break or whether we're having king tides, whatever it may be. We found recently that we've had some emergency situations or urgent situations, and for whatever reason, we've had some bumps in the road with getting the information out, both internally and externally. And for me, that's a significant avoidable failure. And so now we're working through how do we improve that process, and we've already seen a lot of improvements based on the minor steps that we've taken. There were situations like even within the last month, we've had neighbors not necessarily know what was going on, but seeing impacts out in their community on the street, and even situations where our frontline employees had information, but our management team, our leadership team didn't know what was going on. So I think that's also very important for how we make decisions and how we allocate resources. Our stormwater program, I'm very excited about phase 2 of Fortify Lauderdale. We went through the process of prioritizing the projects for phase 2, and the commission has supported the process that we've used to prioritize those projects, and we'll be going into the design phase. We're also not forgetting that phase 1 is still in progress, and we need to advance that as much as possible. I think we have a good team in place, including with consultants to get those projects done. We have consent order projects that are in progress right now, also equally important. We don't wanna be in a situation where we haven't completed within the timeline and then we're hit with all kinds of fines and, the project becomes even more unaffordable at that point. We also have a major, I don't know if you consider this part of our infrastructure, but we have the City Hall project that is before us. Okay. Yeah, I don't know like the whole range of infrastructure for this group, but yes, City Hall.
Airports.
Okay. Well, City Hall will be discussed at tomorrow's City Commission meeting. We have 6 firms who proposed. The City Commission is anticipated to shortlist those firms tomorrow, at which time we'll go into another phase of due diligence and evaluation. That would include a finance plan and a cost estimate and scheduling. And then the commission will ultimately, if things go according to the way staff envisions that this progresses, hopefully in December, we will have an award to one of those firms, and then we can go into negotiations for an interim and comprehensive agreement. One thing that a lot of people know about me who've worked with me, I am a stickler for advocating fiercely for the city. I'm a person who's very into the details. I like to get in the weeds. I don't have as much time to get into the weeds as I would like to be, but I'm asking every member of our team to really take seriously everything that we do and to look at the details and to focus on the fine print and make sure that the city is protected and that we are getting our fair share of any deal, any project, any P3. So I wanna make sure that we're always negotiating fiercely and that we're advocating in our best interest. And sometimes that means we have to not always get exactly what we want, but I think 9 times out of 10, we gotta walk away feeling like, yeah, we got one up on this, this deal or whatever. So I really appreciate that the city commission has been supportive. They have been very open-minded to some of the, the changes that have been recommended and brought forward. I will mention that in our budget this year, we have a new emergency reserve fund with about $4.8 million allocated to it. We know with everything happening in the world, we just are uncertain in the case of an emergency, so we wanna make sure that we're funding even at a higher level than our regular reserve. So in the case of a weather emergency and our infrastructure challenges that could come along with that, we wanna make sure we have funding available. And the commission was supportive of taking that step, and so I really appreciate them for that. Other than that, just trying to make sure that we stay on top of our assignments and that we can report out to the community and to our elected officials that we're making good progress on projects. Some of the projects that we have in the Parks Bond program have been delayed for whatever reason, and we're playing catch up right now on some of them. And one of the things that I wanna make sure we're doing as staff, with the support of our commission and community, is that we're celebrating the wins. There's so many things that we do every day. We'll do a new playground, we'll do a new sidewalk, and I'm like, let's celebrate all of it. Let's talk about all of it, photograph it, cut the ribbon, take whatever we gotta do, because I don't think it's enough to just celebrate the big things. We gotta also acknowledge the work that went into getting the little things done. So I'm constantly, asking elected officials, do you wanna have a groundbreaking? Do you wanna have a ribbon cutting? And they're almost annoyed with me at this point asking about that. But I think it's important for the community to know that we're always making progress and that we want to highlight the wins, big or small. So if you all have any questions for me, I'm open to that. And I also want to acknowledge Mr. Walters here, who was on the selection committee for the city manager role.
I voted for you.
I think you did. I think I got a unanimous vote, actually.
Okay, well, we ask
Let me just say thank you. You have not disappointed me one time yet. And hopefully that will be the way it is after I turn everything over to these guys. And but the infrastructure task force, if you name it, we are working on it. And except for one thing, and I don't know why it wasn't included, and I never asked this before, as much as affordable housing play a part of the infrastructure of the total city, it's not part of one of the things that we have been asked to comment on. And probably down the road somewhere it will, because it involves transportation, it's involved water, it involves sewage and everything else. But I have watched you very closely to see how well you're doing. And I tell you, you have not been disappointed at all. And every time I get a chance, I try to say thank you to you. And tomorrow night will just be another time I say thank you, because I'll be there. But I guess we will call what you just did as a full report. I think it was very complete. It told us what is happening throughout the city and what staff is doing to make the lives of those who live here, work here, and like these guys, they even get a chance to play. I don't. But we believe that we are headed in the right direction from the infrastructure portion of this, and we would like for you to come and brief us every once in a while.
If you all will have me, I will be back, maybe quarterly, if that's something you're interested in, I can definitely make myself available.
James?
Thank you for coming, nice to meet you. I've spoken a couple times at City Commission. I have a couple questions for you. You talked about creating the Utility Services Department. Can you tell us a little bit more about what's that versus Public Works? What's separated?
Okay, so utilities will focus on water treatment, collection, distribution. Our team here, I think we have several utility services folks represented here today, but the Public Works side of the house will focus on stormwater, fleet services. They will also do some projects, once we establish the distinction between what's a lower tier project that would stay with Public Works versus a high dollar project that might go to the capital projects department. And so the effort here is not to separate and create silos. My expectation is that Public Works is still going to work very closely with utility services. They have to be like attached at the hip. And that's why both of those departments will be under Ben Rogers, who has a portfolio that is more so about operations, because we have a 24/7 operation here in the city. So the goal here is to make sure that those teams can work well together, and I know based on the leadership that we have now and that we will have in place, that that's gonna be seamless. Public Works team, let's say in a rain event, they're gonna be the ones that are facilitating getting us to be dry again. They're the ones that are gonna be working on the planning for Fortify Lauderdale program. Our utility services team, they're gonna make sure that we have clean water to drink, and that when we flush the toilet, it goes where it's supposed to go.
So they have water and sewer, utilities?
Yes.
And just to follow that question, where is engineering going? Are it on above, or they all going to capital projects department?
It's a very good question. So this year, as part of the budget, we brought back the city engineer position into Public Works. That position, I think it was 2017 was the last time that position was in Public Works. We have someone functioning somewhat as the city engineer in our development services department for regulatory processes and approvals. But the idea is to have engineering be part of Public Works.
Okay,
And the Capital Projects Department will have other departments as its client. So transportation will become a client. Parks and Rec will become a client. Public Works to a certain extent will be a client. And so we'll have to have those synergies, but the capital projects team, they will be building it and constructing it, yes.
So, Raquel, would a project start off like being managed, project management, say by Public Works, but then at some point shift to capital projects, or would it start at capital projects and finish at capital projects?
So in terms of the design and the engineering aspect of it, it needs to start in Public Works.
Okay,
And there will be, I don't wanna say a handover, but there will be a bridge where the two shops will come together, but then the responsibilities will be different. The capital projects team will have to take it from a certain point to completion.
okay.
And that's the way I view it, even for City Hall. We're gonna have a team that is negotiating an agreement and, looking at specifications. Ultimately, we'll need the capital projects team to have oversight of whichever contractors or developer is doing this to get the project from, hey, we have a negotiated contract, but now we need to execute it. And I wouldn't have the same people who negotiated the contract be the only people now working on it to get it built. Sometimes those people have different sets of skills, but we always need to depend on the subject matter experts when we're navigating. So it's not just okay, I'm done with it, it's yours. We're always gonna be calling the person who had it first, hey, can you explain some of this? Or what did you mean by this? Or what did we need out of this? What was the expectation for this so that we can make that a reality?
One more question,
yes.
if you don't mind. Have we added new FTEs to City Hall, or are we maintaining, or have we decreased any? Where are we with that? Because as taxpayers, people wanna know.
That's a very good question.
We don't want government to get too big and be wasteful, so.
Very good question. By and large, we have reallocated or reassigned staff. We have a net increase of 6 positions in the general fund this year. Also note that we had a SAFER grant through FEMA for 28 new firefighters, so that hit our budget this year. Those employees had already started earlier in a prior fiscal year, but that's now hitting the books. We also have 18 employees that we're contractually obligated to hire as part of the Prospect Lake Clean Water Center project. And so we need to staff up for that. That's a decision that was already made when that contract was first done, but this is now the year where we're having to staff up for that. So that's reflected, but that's part of an enterprise fund, so it wouldn't hit the general fund impact. So by and large, we're sticking to what we got and moving people around and just making some tweaks.
Great, thank you.
Again, I have a question with the capital projects too. So who provides recommendations right now to the capital projects department? Is that recommendation from you, from utilities department, or they kind of investigate on their own, or maybe all, I'm not sure.
So we have a $2 billion CIP, which is our 5-year community investment plan. Most cities call it a capital improvement plan, but we're special in Fort Lauderdale, we have great branding. So these projects are already in the works. We already know what's going to be programmed or what is programmed from now through 5 years out. As far as recommendations for what moves forward this fiscal year, there is a committee that gets together as part of the budget process, with internal staff from various departments, and they talk through with the Office of Management and Budget, hey, these are the projects that are time sensitive, these are the projects that need maybe 5% left of funding to get it fully funded, so we wanna move forward with that. Or these projects are under a consent order, so we need to get it done between this year and next year. So there are a lot of factors that go into how a project gets on the list and in what time frame. As far as like recommendations, every department that's now a client is going to be saying to the capital projects team, hey, we're the end user, so this is what we expect out of this project. So a parks project, the Parks and Recreation Department is gonna be making recommendations to the capital projects team, you know, even for things to go out to bid, we're gonna look at those scopes. Both departments have to look at the scope of services that we'll put out on the street to make sure that it meets the expectation. So I don't know if that answers it, but that's how I envision it.
Obviously on the scopes and the specifications, but I think my second part of my question would be, obviously different departments are differently funded, right? Like my concern is with the utilities budget, the enterprise funding, people pay water and sewer, and I don't wanna my utilities department to compete for a capital project for the water main replacement or the sewer main replacement with the park band, right? There has to be somewhere understanding that those projects are essential. Yes, the clean water and the sanitation is essential. The city would not grow. We probably can survive without another tree planet. But I think like because when they were the utilities, maybe there was some push from utilities because they the one that they dealing with the broken pipes and broken stuff. So I kind of don't wanna. I wanted this to kind of reiterate that it's important to understand that it's also the different funds and
Absolutely.
they can be done at the same time, right? Like I'm not saying we cannot do the water and wait until the tree grows in the parks, but I think there has to be a line also
There's always gonna
financially who is funding those projects and how.
I think there will always be competing interests in terms of the personnel resources needed to get things done. And that's why it's important to have these operational infrastructure related groups, you know, under the same portfolio. But as well, there's different skill sets that come with planning for a project and executing a project. We have, I believe, enough personnel resources and consulting resources to move projects simultaneously to the extent that we've planned for them in our CIP. So I don't think that we've overly saturated this year's budget with projects that we can't move forward. If we did, then we need to reevaluate that as we go into the next year's budget process. So I think there's always gonna be this project needs to get done and that project needs to get done and this project is funded this way. Some of these projects are split funded and have a lot of funding sources and players
Correct.
involved.
They have a grant, they have a, they have a bond, like you just said it, the parks bond was delayed. Okay, even with the deadline, they're getting delayed, so. And sometimes consent orders, because you have that time structure, they actually push a lot of projects to the front line, right? So I'm sure you're doing excellent. I like it that it's some compartments, but it's also very important for me that's not a missing link in the communication, because I think utility services, they totally different funds. They're not generally funded, and I'm sure there would be a lot of needs going forward.
Excuse me, Madam Vice Chair, I know that city manager has a schedule that she needs to uphold, so we're gonna have to let her go.
I'll just take
we just met you.
I'll just take one more.
So I'm a retired director of project management, so are these the Public Works Department and Utility Works Department have their own project managers, or are they coming from a pool of project managers in the operation team?
So the Public Works Department literally like a week ago included utility services. So
Okay.
there was just a separation in names. Physical separation hasn't even happened completely yet. Now there are project managers that are within those groups right now, and senior project managers, I think there's maybe like 2 or 3 tiers of project management positions in those departments,
I
both of
wanted
them.
to see the idea of having a neighborhood overlay assignment. So you're tearing up the roads to do sewer, you're tearing up the roads to do water, I want a project manager to know everything that happens in Victoria Park and to make sure these different project managers that are coming in to do their job knows what's happening on this street. So don't tear up the street twice. So somehow you've gotta create that communication.
Do we do that in GIS now?
We do level coordination. We do with projects. There's always continual improvement, but GIS is a good tool to track all that infrastructure improvements.
And which is actually a good point to have this one capital projects department, because that's also mobility and transportation. So together as the mobility transportation can say, we're gonna resurface this road, let's think about the sewer and water and what we need to replace or line. So that's actually confirmation that was a great idea. Hopefully it's gonna work.
Thanks again.
I'm so disappointed that you need to go so
I'm
quickly.
sorry.
I feel like we just met you, but definitely we appreciate your time. Anybody else wanna add anything about future of the task force? No? Roosevelt, stay
No,
quiet?
We'll catch you in 3 months.
Correct. Let's leave it, we're not gonna bombard you with the difficult.
I'll leave you with this, two things to, or three things to sort of look out for. Tomorrow we have a budget amendment on the agenda with significant investment in capital projects using general fund balance. So sort of the leftover from the year before, and then we have settlement dollars. So the budget amendment is about $33 million for capital one-time projects. So that's a great infusion at the top of the fiscal year on top of what we just already budgeted. Then number two, we're having conversations with the school board right now. You may have read or heard that they're looking to maybe offload some of their properties for schools that have low enrollment. And so we're looking to see how we can potentially partner with them to either obtain access or potentially own or lease any of the sites that they may be considering for purposes that would benefit the city. So that's something to look out for and to make sure you're on top of that conversation. And then we also have a CDBG, Community Development Block Grant Disaster Relief program. We've done a lot of messaging around that. Basically, the city will be receiving about $88 million as a result of impacts from the April 2023 flood event. And so we've been doing a lot of community meetings and getting a lot of input. And so a lot of those dollars are being recommended for various types of improvements, including improvements that would go directly to neighbors, but as well as infrastructure projects for the city. So just want to put that on your radar as something to watch, and maybe the next time I come, I can do a follow-up on those things.
Is that conference meeting tomorrow or
That's the evening meeting for both the budget amendment and that CDBG plan. Yep.
Well, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you, thank you.
I believe we still continue communication with the Public Works since
Thank you.
okay. Well, I think that's to conclude our agenda because we kind of rushed it through. I thought there would be more time to talk to the city manager, but we did all our comments. Anybody else wanna comment on anything? I think we already discussed.
Do we need to discuss agenda for that?
Yes, James.
No, you have,
Sorry,
go ahead.
Do we need to discuss agenda for November?
November, what we did ask staff to share the status on the consent orders for November 3rd meeting.
Yeah, we're working with staff to see if they're available for the day.
Excellent, thank you. Is there anything else?
So, city manager mentioned this $88 million that the city is getting from FEMA based on the big flood event we had a couple years ago. And I went to one of those community meetings, and it's really interesting. It's a lot of discussion. They're explaining some of the different ideas that have been come forth from the community. And it really does go back to even people who had to spend their savings in order to clean up their house because it was under 2 feet of water. And some kind of a reimbursement program for people like that, or to help build some kind of stormwater improvements in their neighborhood. Some of it's stormwater management focus that the city would use some of that money. It's a lot of different things that have been discussed. If people have the opportunity to go to one of those meetings, I suggest you do it. It's really interesting. It's money from the government, so we're getting it. We just have to decide how to spend it.
Alright, so I think that's a good point, because the city probably can create some grant programs, so for the low income families to help
Yeah, there would be some kind of
improvements that would be,
an income. You have to make a certain percentage of the median income in order to qualify, but yeah.
Did you take the survey? Did you do the survey for that?
I did, yeah.
any more comments, questions, concerns? Hearing none? Okay, very good. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
We don't need a motion.
I don't need a motion?
Yes, you do.
Oh, you do?
You don't need a second.
Oh, you don't need a second. Thank God we have a parliamentarian.
Well,
I saw how nice you were to her.
Shane,
You didn't say a damn
he's
thing
making
about it.
motion
You
to adjourn
spent a
the
dime
meeting.
more
Meeting
than I
adjourned.
think you
Meeting
spent.
adjourned.
You're gonna get your ass chewed out.
Thank you, Shane.